Good morning, everybody. So, hey, Emma. Good morning. Let's get started. There's a lot to go over, and I know I'm running a little bit late. I'll just start with what I have on the screen, and then we can kind of get into it. But, if this breaks here, this can go a little bit lower. This can go to 346. So just watch this today. It's definitely interesting that you're sitting right on that 8-day moving average. So this could break. In regards to what you're seeing going on out there right now, and let's just kind of get into that. There's three names we need to go over, right? So ASML, okay, you're seeing this come in down to this level, right? I'm going to leave pre and post in. You're seeing this come down right to that 788 level. Maybe we trade up, maybe we don't, but this is very interesting because usually if you gap down on this name after earnings, you wind up trading back up. So I'm interested in this, and I'm going to be watching it today. Their supply constraints are for the entire industry. So it's an industry problem. But this might have an Apple moment. Remember when Apple came out and had those hey, everything's going really, really poorly, and then you bought it, and then now you're up $8. We did this one in the newsletter. So keep that in mind with ASML. Netflix. In my opinion, Netflix's quarter was excellent and the stock's coming in. You just need to watch this 622.02 level. If you're in it, you can see how you've been respecting that level. And you did again this morning. If you break that level, you're probably going to touch the 21-day, and then hopefully that holds. But overall, that was a great, great quarter. Finally, NVAX, and then I can just start going through the questions. Watch this level right here to start, okay? If you break the 117 level, this could exacerbate down to the downside. So just keep that in mind. It was a really negative report on what's going on there as far as their drug for the vaccine. And I actually thought it would be positive for this group, for the Modernas of the world, but they're already fading on the news. So I don't know if they're thinking that it's going to carry through or not. But just be careful, buying these because they're bidding up. They're already rejecting like the 21-day. So this could get worse. But I thought they would trade up on this news, and they're simply just not doing it. So that's kind of interesting. That's really what I want to go over and cover that I think is important for you to watch. Good morning. So let's get started. Crowd, Airbnb, and Coin. Okay. Crowd. Yeah. I mean, you're forming this flag. You broke out of the flag, and now you're right here. This could absolutely go, and this could absolutely run. People are looking for the next net right now, right? And you don't have earnings until December. So this could absolutely break out of that 289.24 level and just run. This definitely could do that. So it's on the short list. Just to be candid, I have a lot of software names right now. That's why I'm not in this one. But as I will point out, every stock that's breaking these 50 days is just running. So I would argue to keep looking for those names that keep breaking the 50-day. They're working like a charm. No, I'm not really sure fundamentally what happens here because people are complaining about the fees, yet people are running into issues where they can't, the hotels, people are afraid to stay in hotels because of the virus. So I'm not really sure what happens here. Here's how I would map this out. Overall, I think you're in pretty good shape that you're hanging in here around this 170.18 level, technically, right? But until I get through 177, I have zero interest in that, Daniel, like just zero. It's just not something that's on my radar. Coin should have had more follow through yesterday than it did, and maybe we're going to get that follow through today. 308.71. If Coin can get through that, right? There's probably a trade there, right? If you can get through that high, there's probably a trade there. This volume is absolutely insane, and it's really predicated upon one thing. It's predicated upon that NFT move. Has very little to do with Bitcoin. And so I get that because the whole dynamics of the company are changing. So that can really lever up their revenues and earnings. So this may continue to go up, and we'll see what happens with it. I'm not worried about getting in on I wouldn't look at it from getting in on Bitcoin. It's not why I would buy. It's not why I would buy it. Okay, I would buy it based upon the news of the NFTs. And why you're buying it, it's kind of irrelevant, right? The bottom line is you want to buy it because it's going up, right? You expect it to make you money. Closing above this 307 is huge. Now, if we click this off, we can kind of see that we didn't really close above it yesterday, right? But so what we're looking to do is we're looking to see if we're going to break through this today, or they're going to just bid us up to make us come back down. So we're just going to have to watch this, okay, and see how that plays out. In regards to coin, I still like the name, and I think that there's potential there, but we just have to really watch. AMC was really disappointing on that news. I thought I'd get more of a move, and instead what I got was a bearish engulfing. Here, look, let's get rid of this. See how this bar completely encapsulates this bar? I mean, it doesn't do it from the open, so the bodies don't encapsulate, but technically it's a bearish engulfing right at the top of the trend line. That's not really what you're looking for. If you put the indicators in, you close below, if you zoom in on this, you close below the 50-day. That's not really where you want to be. Now, maybe the other averages will trade it up and make it move, but I'm not really feeling this right now. I was the other day, but I don't like that little move. It reminds me of this. And then we know how that went. So I'd be careful here now. Let it get over this wick. I mean, it's a pretty easy trade if it gets over 44.5 now. If you get over 44.5, you should be all over this, right? I mean, if AMC can get over that 44.5, you should be looking at it for sure. But until then, I would just stay away. I don't see any reason to get involved. I don't see a reason to get involved. That's just me. Hey, Jacob. So lit. So what you're seeing here is that there obviously is major demand for batteries. Look, I don't see how, if you look at this on a fundamental basis, I don't see how this doesn't go up, right? Everybody's going to EVs. Everyone's going to need these products. I mean, every company's doing it, right? So why isn't it going to happen, right? Okay. So if you think about it from a fundamental standpoint, like these dips, just buy them, right? But if you just look at it at a technical standpoint, you broke out. You broke out and your earnings are declining. So that's not really what you want to see. So one of the things that I would do is look at RSI when I see something like this. So when I see a declining volume line, I want to look at RSI. And frankly, the RSI is lined up perfectly. So I'm not that concerned about the declining average line looking because I just looked at RSI. What does that mean for me? It means that I need to sit down and figure out how to get in this. Well, the easiest way to get in it is wait till it breaks over that wick, which is 89.59. And you haven't done that yet this morning, but anything over 89.59 and it probably goes. This is a great example of just an ETF that's just absolutely crushed it, right, since it came out. So, just beautiful. So, I mean, look here. We came in on the pandemic. So I really like this, and I think that will continue with time. But yeah, you could break out here, and you could continue to follow Jacob for sure. There's no question about it. Roku and Crowd. Ruku's going to have an issue today until Netflix gets its act together, right? That's not the move we wanted to see last night in Netflix, to say the least. Let me rephrase that. It's not the move I wanted to see. Maybe somebody was shorted. But what you're seeing here with 350, 52, and now you're seeing this go. Look, this can absolutely get moving here. Absolutely, this can get moving up to this level. I've been saying that. You need to clear this 350, 52 now, and make sure that we just don't start rolling back down, okay? We did break out. It's a clear indication that we broke out getting above these levels. Now we have to see if that continues. right? So let's see if that continues. Other than that, we'll see. Crowd I already covered. Hut, G, let's do Hut. You can see the level you're at, right? You can see your flag's formation. Look at your flag. Okay. So that's exactly what you want to see. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to do this. Someone please remind me so that you can see the names that we've already gone over so you can go through them. And you can also see what I've been looking at. But look, right here, I mean, this is what you're looking for. You're just bouncing around. Look, that whole sector is going to bounce around on this, right? Okay. And what should be concerning is if this is hitting new highs and grinding higher, and these stocks are no longer doing that or participating in it, that's something that you need to be aware of. And this is bouncing around and acting quite nice. I mean, this looks like it's ready to break out again today. So maybe that happens. Maybe Mara does break out and follow through a little bit. But Mara seems to be the name to trade in that space, frankly. But, I'm not going to get excited about 10 basis points here, on Bitcoin. I mean, I don't get it. But that could move. Mara could move on that news. I'd be more interested in that than Hut. Good morning, buddy. Bros and opens. Let's start with bros. So looks like you're going to go again this morning. That's not really surprising. We had an entry yesterday in the trading room on it. Some people did okay with it. Some people not so much. But it is what it is. I mean, look, this is what the point. Here, let me get rid of this and put this back in. This is what I was getting at, right? That's why it's so important to have these levels in so you can see how you act on these levels. And then you broke out of this flag, you went, pulled back, went again. All right, now whether or not you made money on this or not, question is, what do you do now? Well, you're breaking above every single level this morning and you're running. So this should, without a doubt, be on anybody's list that's looking for a short-term trade. Okay. This has momentum and it's breaking out. I mean, it's pretty clear. I don't think it's easy to call this when you got above this, I don't think it's easy to call this something that, you have to stay in forever. But if it starts moving like this, you're going to want to pay attention to it. It could really go. If you're in it, I would just simply stay in the trade and see how it plays because it should play out nicely. Here you are in your daily, and let's just get rid of that. And so you can see this. Look, this was your breakout. You came back, you retested your breakout, and now you have a range. You're stuck in that range until you break out of it, right? So you're either going to break to the downside here, okay, or you're going to break out up here. I mean, that's pretty much it. Until one of those two takes place, you're in limbo. So I wouldn't do anything with that trade. If I'm in it, I'd stay in it. If I'm not, I'd avoid it. Mathis, I covered that earlier. NVAX, I'll do it again very, very quickly. Look, this news that came out was pretty damaging. And let me throw this back in. And this news was really damaging. And you're playing with this 117 level. And if you break that, this is going to get super ugly. The only thing you really have is 112. But after that, you're starting to look at 80. So this could get really, really ugly. And it's not something that I'd be rushing into. That's for sure. It's definitely something I'd be holding off on. So just consider, you have to trade how you trade, but just consider that. Playboy, I actually like that name. It's actually on a short list of mine today. I want to see how it acts, how it truly acts here. But then the next level should be 30. And then you could see 39. But this could go. This could definitely go. That volume spike is pretty pertinent. And above the 200-day, we really have not closed above the 200-day since it's been around, except here, right? And then we rolled back under it. So let's see what happens. But this is setting up for me. I think this is setting up to go. And we'll have to see how it plays out. But yeah, I like that trade a lot. I think that could work. LC, that kind of came and went, didn't it? Right? So you broke out. I mean, the reason that I really didn't get too aggressive with this is because I have this huge trend line up here. So I could probably run into 36 and just avoid it. It's not something that I want to be playing with, right? And then what was the other one that you asked about? Hold on. RSKD. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go near this. I don't see anything like redeeming about it. AEHR, SNAP, UPST. So these are easy. So for me, AEHR has gotten super simple, right? If this is where we're in from the newsletter, we've done fairly well with the trade. You know, look, when you start snapping these downward trend lines, you need to pay attention to that. And I'm just going to leave pre and post in, so they're not going to be drawn perfectly. You needed to hold this. So maybe you undercut it and go back up. You know, for me at this point, if I break this level, I think the trade's over. You could come back down to 16, 17, and I don't want to deal with that. After being up here, it's not a move that I'm overly interested in. And when we encapsulated this yesterday and closed below it, that was kind of a sign that maybe that's the end of the move. So maybe it's time to move on. But I would get out if it breaks that level for sure. I mean, I wouldn't wait. Snap. Look, a lot of people are going to play Snap in the earnings. That's entirely up to you. I think it was pretty telling what happened the other day on this stock. And since that happened, like the fact that I got to this level and completely and utterly rejected and came all the way down to 72, that's not where you want to be. So, that's really not where you want to be. Now, that said, you're trading up and things are looking okay. Look, 79.32 is my level. If I can get through that, maybe, but I just don't like the action in it at all. I mean, it's just rejection, right? Constantly at that level. So maybe the earnings work, maybe they don't. It's not something I'm going to run into. Hey, Terry, SSYS and DDD. DDD, I actually traded earlier this year and did really well with. I'm not really sure why they're acting the way they're acting. I mean, this had just fantastic earnings. You can see all the levels marked off on where we were. Let's get rid of all of them. And let's just leave that trend. I mean, you see the trend line? You've just been respecting it the whole time. I mean, it's hard to ignore it, right? I mean, you can kind of see it. Like here you are the whole way. You can probably draw it cleaner by not having pre and post in, but that's okay. So what do you do with something like this? We just realized you're in a base. So maybe it trades back up to here, but you're really in a base until we'll start clearing these levels. Until that happens, there's just really no reason to do anything with it. People have to realize that these bases can take years. Like this is much better. See how you are over this high peak right here, over this evening star, right? And now you're breaking out. Like this is much better trade. This one I get. I can understand why people are looking at this. You're not, your downtrend broke a long time ago, right back in May, and then you started basing and running, getting above the 200, consolidating, respecting your 8, and now look at your moving averages. They're all starting to curl up, right? So this could absolutely work. Out of the two names, I like this one the most. When are earnings on this? Yeah, you're coming up with earnings pretty soon, but that could absolutely work. I like that. I'd like to see more volume, but if I had to pick one out of those two, it's definitely that one. It's not even close. Can we look at Square? Sure. So this is what you need to do. Okay. You need to close and stay above the 50-day moving average, which you failed to do here. Okay. If you can close and stay above that, above the 8 and the 21 and everything that's curling, this can redeem itself. It's not beyond redemption. Right? Look at that line. I mean, it's perfect. So getting above that, right? And you could run back up to here. That is a possibility. You can see this wedge line almost drawn perfectly. And that can happen. And you can see these levels, 278, 283. So we just have to watch, but that can happen. I like that name. That could work. AMEHSI. So SI is just a disaster, right? So that's not something. We had a position on it. It didn't work. Look, I can actually get rid of this. We're out of the whole thing. Remove all annotations and let's just start over and let's just look at what transpired. Okay, that's what transpired after earnings. So not only did I have a flag that was building under a resistance line, it completely rejected that and then rejected the breakout. So this is not something, I mean, could you catch a dead cat bounce, right, and make some money before it, goes down again? Absolutely. Is that something that I'm going to suggest? No, you got to be really careful here. Let me just throw these back in for a minute. So maybe you hold the 21 day, maybe you don't, right? If you don't hold the 21 day, you're going to the 50. This is just not something that I would be in. I mean, historically, when you have these long red nasty bars, how's it go for the stock, right? And the answer is not very well. So this is not something I'd be chasing now. It's disappointing because you expected this to move, pardon me, with the, with Bitcoin, and it's just simply not. AMEH looks like it's just absolutely toast. So if you break this level right here, right? If you break that, we traded this before on the long side and did really well with it when someone issued a short report. Look, right here, you just have to watch this, okay? You really have to watch this. And for me, I think that this could go. This could absolutely collapse. This is not good, right? Maybe the guy that I don't like that person that wrote that short report for a litany of reasons. But, that said, it doesn't really matter what I think. The issue is that maybe he's right. And, you always have to think that, like, maybe I'm wrong. And then you have to put your thesis together. Anyway, so looking at this, what does this mean? Look, I think you could break the 68.88 level, and you break that, you're toast. Like, put a fork in it. It's done. And you could see again, these have been the trades. You break the 50-day, you're toast. And that's what's working. That trade, long and short, is working right now relentlessly. So I would not go near that. It's not something that would be on my list. Hey, Melvin. So yeah, a lot of options yesterday in this, and everyone's getting excited about it. Could it trade up? Absolutely. So you're pretty washed out here, right? And now you're above what? We just had this talk. You're above your 50-day. You got above your 50-day back here. Now you broke out yesterday. This is a really simple trade, okay? Until you're above this peak, you just can't enter it. If you enter above that peak, right? If you enter above that peak, you should be okay. Okay. And it can go, and there can be a trade there up to this level, right? That can happen. Absolutely. Right. That 100% unequivocally could happen. I'd like to see more volume, but that trade can happen. This would be an interesting one to just look at relative volume on. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, out of nowhere, now you're at 3.5. So it's more relative than we think it is. Relative volume's a very underutilized tool. BABA. Yeah, my hope again with BABA is that it just runs up so that I can short it, to be honest with you. And I think I'm going to get my wish. So it's above the 50, which means that it's probably just going to run for a little bit here. You're finally, right, for a short period of time, you're finally above this moving average, right? And you're probably heading to here. Okay. Maybe you'll head to here. I don't know. I'll just look for a reversal and I'll be shorted again. I'm not a huge fan. The long-term short on this has just been just beautiful. Like, you can just see it. So I'm not really overly concerned here. I think the regulatory concerns that happen this year and next year with the company are going to be staggering. So to me, it's not something I'm going to go near. But could it trade up? Absolutely. The fact that you're getting above that, now we know where we are in the moving averages, right? The fact that you're getting above this, right? The fact that you're getting above that level this morning, tells you that you could probably go higher, and you can actually start walking it up, right? And you can kind of go to the next peak and say, yeah, you can get to 200 now, right? That could happen. Yes, you could see 200 on it. MQ. Let's take a look at MQ. So it's just not, this is not something I would trade. I mean, I get it. Like you have this reversal down here. You can see the evening star, right? Reversal right here. And then you go and you rip and you get above this. I mean, for me, there's a huge overhang here. There's a couple of them just by looking at it, right? We'll draw this one because it's cleaner. Leave this as an anomaly, right? But you can see like you broke this one. Hold on one second. Okay. So you broke this one, right? And this is what happened. And then you broke that, and then you kind of pulled back, and then you're going to run, and maybe you run to here. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, that's fine. For me, that would be tight and not something I'd be interested in. And I'd worry about this little doji that's sitting there, but I can't really worry about that, right? Because it's not real. Like we have to let this trade itself out and see what's really going on there. And we just don't know yet. So we're going to just have to watch that a little bit. But there might be a couple points there, Ramon. You know, I think Facebook has major problems, but you're talking to someone that has thought Facebook's had major problems since, it was 150 and they were all brought out in front of Congress. Well, since then, they've done nothing. And, I don't know that Congress is going to do anything. I mean, they don't seem to care. So what does that mean for the company? Well, if they're not going to have government oversight and the government's really not going to do anything about it, what's going to stop them from making money is really what's starting to happen, right? Like you're seeing no government regulatory body really doing anything in regards to these whistleblowers. They're just having talks again. And, so if you don't do anything, then the stock's probably going to go back up because why? Because they're just going to keep printing money the same exact way without any recourse, right? I mean, it's a company. So that's all they care about is making money. They don't care about anything else. So you could get back to 355 pretty quickly. Now, what it does after that, I have no idea. I truly don't have any idea what it does. But it could get back to here. And I don't know what earnings are going to do. I mean, last earnings, we sold down. The earnings before that, we sold up. We went up. So, and the way you're turning, it's turning as if it's going to go. Them coming out and saying, don't issue, the regulatory bodies yesterday, right? Don't issue a cryptocurrency. Well, you have legislative power to make sure that they don't. I don't think that they get it. So I don't think they're going to do anything. And, my short thesis, and I've been short that for a while, after this coin deal, I just don't think they're going to stop the company. Now, if that's the case, the company's going to go back up, but your first level is going to be this 355 level. So, oh, you're welcome, buddy. Anytime. Hi, Laura. I mean, look, it depends how long you're looking out for it. For me on Netflix, I tried to do a little trade last night after hours. I thought it was great, a great quarter. It didn't work. I blew it out. Trade didn't work. I just got out of the way. It should have moved higher on that quarter for me. I mean, I thought that was a really very good quarter, and it didn't. So, when a stock drops on negative news or a stock drops on positive news, and that's how I look at it as positive news, I don't want to be in it, right? Because I don't know where that's going to end, right? I want to be in the trades, Laura, like this, right? This comes out with negative news and becomes a buy, right? So they're the ones you need to be looking at. Like, I'll give you another one that could work today, right? Like this can work today, right? This came out with negative news, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this trade itself back up over the day, right? It could happen. So just keep that in mind. Now, Netflix positive news, and this is what it does. It's not really where you want to be. And now you have this pre-market level up here. I don't know what you're going to, how it's going to play out, but you could just be sitting here for a while in the name. We just don't know. We'll know off the open. Hey, Marty. Hope everything's well in New York. It's very interesting you say that, Marty, because I was looking at Roku for the Netflix move, and it seems to me that yeah, this can move going into earnings on this. And the one thing it did yesterday, and it's on a short list. The one thing it did yesterday that I really like is it got above that 50-day, and anything that's getting above that 50-day seems to be working. So my hope is that, yeah, that, Snap has a good quarter and maybe it's reflective in this name. We're going to just have to see how that whole thing plays out. But yes, absolutely. I would be looking at this. Let me get rid of this data point for a moment so you can kind of see, and let's get rid of these indicators. We know that the 8 and the 21 are curling. We know we're above the 50-day. That's a huge sign for people because it's a simple trade, right? They buy it. And then if it just breaks this 53 level, they just blow it out. They just don't even play with it. But yeah, I mean, this could trade it back up to 60 fairly quickly. So, but that said, let's just keep going and looking at it, right? So here's that level, 56.37. And look where you closed yesterday, 56.20. So absolutely watch this. It's definitely one to put on your list. It can go. I don't know what Snap's going to do with earnings. I don't know how good they're going to be or bad they're going to be. I have no idea. If I was a betting person, which I am, I would say that they're not going to be great because we haven't seen great earnings coming out of software or out of social media companies lately. People want to get on with their lives. I think a lot of people are over it, which happens, right? Happens to all different types of technology, right? So everybody had a CD player, an 8-track. So we just keep evolving. I don't know. I mean, I get it. I see this. You're riding the 50-day, get through the 21-day, and then maybe look at it. But at least get through the 21-day before you do. I see the 50-day, and that can work. So, Raphael, here's the thing about these stocks, okay? It's becoming increasingly clear that, to me, it's becoming increasingly clear that these guys are not going to do anything in Congress. They're just not going to do anything. And I don't think you're going to get any kind of bill or reconciliation bill or anything passed. I don't think you're getting any kind of infrastructure bill passed. It just doesn't seem like it's coming, right? They're so far apart. It's not even funny. So, and they keep issuing statements. Oh, it's right around the corner. It's not. So what you need to see is you need to see this run up to this level. Now, that said, see what happens here. And see if this can get up to here. Maybe. I doubt it. I mean, that whole space just seems like fraught with, look, we ran up, pulled back, tested. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I know a lot of the social media guys were pumping this one yesterday. That makes me more concerned, right? Than when we're pumping these names. So I would watch that whole space. I'm apprehensive. The one space out of all of this on infrastructure that seems to make the most sense, that really seems to make the most sense are these names, right? These seem to make the most sense, and they're acting accordingly. So let's see how that plays out. Let's see. Spot, I like a lot. I just did pins. Hopefully you saw that, Max. DOCN. Spot, I like a lot long term. I just think it's a cash cow. You've been respecting this trend line, so there's no reason to think that you're not going to respect that up here at 97, 98. It's not something I would chase. Let's just keep going. Spot. Okay, so here's your line, 255.85. Get through that, okay? And I think you could go. Get through that, and then I think you're going to head to that 263 level. But I think that this may be done going down. I've shown this V pattern that's very similar to the V pattern, right? That's the thing about trading, right? These patterns keep replicating, right? We just have to spot them, right? I mean, that's really what we're doing. That should really be our job. We're finding patterns and seeing how they replicate. Breaking above the trend line's great, above the 50-day, and we never closed below it. So there's a lot of really positive things going on here, and this absolutely could trade higher. Just a fun fact about the company, they have the single largest paid subscription service in the world. They are wide open. There's no political issues. There's no censorship. whether it's podcasts or, explicit music. It is what it is. And it's a brilliant strategy that, they're hands off like that, and it's going to pay off. So I think long term that this has a huge potential. I really do. I actually think that this stock, for lack of better term, could actually be a really huge alternative to people that are on YouTube. So, but I think it's just it's going to take time. Once you start learning that you can watch your videos on here and everything else, and people are streaming their videos on here from YouTube, I just think this company has massive potential. So this line, just watch it. Technically speaking, let's get back to the technicals. 255.85, 263.59. They're your levels. Get through that. Get through the 200-day like you couldn't hear, and you're just going to have a litany of buyers again that are going to try this. And maybe it's on earnings. All right, I'm going to just go here. So, oh, thanks, buddy. So, actually, no, one of them. To the BITU, your thoughts on potential? Yeah, Terry, I like it. I mean, I know you're in the trading room. I like it. I like it. I mean, I walked through that entire trade in that room, and I think it's going to go. I really do. I think people that want exposure to it. Look, this is how it works with these. Okay. They come out, people aren't aware of it. The next day they get their Wall Street Journal or their IBD, right? Either digitally delivered, or if you're an old fogey like me, I still want a newspaper, right? And then I read it, and then I see that it's out. Okay. Now that I see that it's out, I want to participate in it. It never fails. Like, you can set your watch to these. So yeah, I think it could go, and I think it's a really interesting spot to buy it. So let's just keep going. Tesla, look, I mean, let me just throw this out there. I have a decent position in Tesla. These are the places that we bought it recently, right? So let's just go through that. Anyway, do me a favor while I have everyone, please subscribe to this channel, and please click notifications, and please like the video, because I'm trying to get in front of as many people as possible. And I purposely don't run ads. And I don't want to. So look, see what's going on here. 881. So 78 doesn't do anything for me, right? I'm more interested in that 880 level, right? That's my level. If I get through that, I'd be interested. I may be interested in trading this after hours tonight, right? Like there's a lot of potential for what this can do today. I don't know that I'm just going to buy it off the rip. I could sell back down to the 8 before numbers, right? 840. Do I want to be in at 840 going into the numbers? Numbers are bad. Now I'm at 800. No. That's why we've been building a position in it for months. So now we can hedge that position either with puts, or we can just take a profit on some of it, right? And roll the dice on the rest. So 4 p.m. Yeah. UPST to me, you got to be really careful. It's definitely not a long to me. Yeah. I mean, that might make sense why it moved. Yes, shop can continue this. All right, I'm going to have to wrap it up here. I'm going to go through this real quick because this is really interesting, and I apologize if I didn't get to it. If I didn't get to it and you have questions, just email me here, okay? And I'll get to it when I can, but I got to jump here because there's a lot going on. I got to hop in the room. Let's just go through this, okay? So, and let's finish on this note. What have I been saying, right, all through this meeting? You need to stay above your 50-day. Things that are breaking above the 50-day are doing what? They're running, okay? What index just got above the 50-day? The SOX, okay? So you see where I'm going with this? I would be looking at names like NVIDIA. We were already in this at 214, and I don't see any reason why you're not getting up here. I mean, what's going to be the reason? Supply constraints? If you don't know that there's 100 cargo ships in California right now, you're not watching any news at all, right? So to me, like ASML, if ASML can pull an Apple and trade up on negative news, you're going to see buying coming into it. And I think that that's exactly what you could see today. So that's how I look at it. And that's where I'm at, SF. I mean, I like semiconductors a lot here. I can't be clearer. I would strongly, someone asked about Kolakasova, And I would strongly avoid the equipment makers. I'm not so sure what's going on with them or why they're acting so bad, but the names that seem to want to work, right? Like this is setting up again if it gets over the 50-day. So the names that are working are the chips. Like this is working. We're not breaking this 114 level. We're building a flag and setting up to break this level going into earnings, right? Like that's what's happening. So keep that in mind. And I really like that space a lot. So that's it. I did cover UPST. It's not a long for me. It's in the list. It's to me, it's maybe it's a short, but they're marked off in the video. And just fast forward through the video. Put the speed on 2x, and then you'll be able to see it and find it. So that's it, everybody.